Hello, grade 3. This is Ms. Ibtihaj again. I'm back with a new lesson for today. It's lesson 11.4 entitled Understand Area. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to explore perimeter and area as attributes of polygons. Well, you might be asking yourself, what are the difference between area and perimeter? Let's find out.
Perimeter. Perimeter is just a fancy math term that means the distance or length around a shape. But what exactly does the distance around a shape mean? Well, distance or length is a one-dimensional quantity that we can measure with units like centimeters, inches, or miles. That means that perimeter is also a one-dimensional quantity that we can measure with units of length. For example, the perimeter of a shape wouldn't be just 10, but it could be 10 centimeters. Or instead of being just 25, it could be 25 miles. The units are really important when you're talking about perimeter. Okay, but what exactly do we mean by around a shape? Seems like there would be a lot of different ways to go around a shape. Some of them would be short, and some of them would be very long. Well, perimeter means the absolute shortest distance possible around a shape. That would be the distance you'd get if you trace the path exactly around the border or edge of a shape. A good way to see what perimeter is to imagine that you could walk right along the edge of a shape, like this five-sided polygon. Imagine starting at one of the polygon's vertices and then walking along each side until you got all the way back to the point that you started from. The total distance you traveled would be the perimeter of that shape. In this case, if the length of each side of the polygon was 10 meters, the total length you would travel along all 5 sides would add up to 50 meters. Another good way to see what perimeter is to imagine that you could take a shape, like this square, and break it at one of its corners. Then you could unfold the shape until it formed a straight line. The length of that line is the perimeter of the shape. Doing this helps you understand why perimeter is a one-dimensional quantity.
Now, I believe that you've understood also what perimeter is. Now, what about area?
To help you understand what area is, let's start by imagining a line that's 1 centimeter long. Now, let's imagine moving that line in a perpendicular direction, a distance of 1 centimeter. But while we move it, it leaves a trail, almost like the end of a paintbrush. By moving the one-dimensional line that way, we formed a two-dimensional shape. And all of the space or surface that we covered along the way is the area of that shape, which as you can see here is just a square. Okay, but how much area does this square have? Well, our original line was 1 centimeter long, and we moved it a distance of 1 centimeter, so we could say that this shape is a square centimeter. Just like a centimeter is a basic unit for measuring length, a square centimeter is a basic unit for measuring area. But there's other units for area too. For example, instead of a centimeter, what if our line had been a meter long? And what if we had moved it 1 meter? The area we'd have gotten would be 1 square meter. Or what if our line was a mile long and we moved it a mile? We'd have a square mile of area. So just like with perimeter, the units of measurement are very important when we're talking about area. All right, so that gives you...
So this has given you a basic idea about the difference between area and perimeter. Back to the essential question, how is finding the area of a figure different from finding the perimeter of a figure? Let's see.
Let's look at different figures that have the same area. Click a unit square to add it to a figure. Click 6 unit squares in all.
Let's choose 6 unit squares. So again, let me repeat the instruction. Show 3 different figures that are each made up from 6 unit squares. Find the area of each figure. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many unit squares make up the figure?
Of course, it's going to be 6 since I've chosen from the very beginning
The figure is made from 6 unit squares. What is the area of the figure?
Remember, the area is the space that the figure covers, so it's again 6.
The area of the figure is 6 square units. Now click the square to make another figure.
Let's see.
How many unit squares make up the figure?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The figure is made from 6 unit squares. What's the area of the figure?
6.
The area of the figure is 6 square units. Now click the square to make one more figure. How many unit squares make up the figure?
Again, if you count, you will find out
The
that
figure is made from 6 unit squares. What's the area of the figure?
of course it's going to be the space that it occupies.
The area of the figure is 6 square units. How are the 3 figures the same? They have the same area. How are the 3 figures different? Their shapes are different.
So some of you might be asking, how can different figures have the same area? Well, because the measure of the number of unit squares covering a figure is its area, you can rearrange the unit squares used in our figure to make a different figure, and the area will not change.
Find the area of a figure.
So we need to count actually the unit squares.
Click each unit square that forms part of the figure.
Let's check together. Seven squares.
Count the unit squares to find the area of the figure.
So, as we can see, the figure is made up of 7 unit squares.
You can find the area or perimeter to solve problems. Select area or perimeter for the situation. Suppose you are putting new carpet in a room. Do you need to know the area or the perimeter of the room?
So, let's see. Let's look at the carpet again. If I'm going to put a carpet in my room, of course, I'm not going to choose the distance around the room because the carpet is supposed to be covering the full room. So basically, this situation involves area.
That's right. Putting a new carpet in a room involves area. Area is the space inside a figure. You need to know the space inside the entire room to cover the floor. Suppose you want to put a fence around a swimming pool. Do you need to know the area or perimeter of the swimming pool?
The key word in this question is the word around. So putting a fence around the swimming pool means that the situation involves perimeter.
Good job. Putting a fence around a swimming pool involves perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around the outside of a figure. You need to know the distance around the outside of the swimming pool to put up a fence. Now let's practice with the personal math trainer.
So basically, this is our lesson for today. Let's recap. This lesson, first of all, helps us establish the similarities and differences between area and perimeter. Perimeter is the area or the distance surrounding a shape, while the area is the surface that it covers. Let's try to solve some problems or some tasks assigned to you on Edmodo to double check your understanding and ensure that you have all understood today's lesson. Thank you and have a nice day. See you soon.